When I was 14, my life took a terrifying turn. My narcissistic mother, whom I'll refer to as my N-mom, started dating a man who was a walking nightmare. He wasn't just an alcoholic, but also violent and had schizophrenia. Every day felt like I was walking on eggshells, never knowing when things might spiral out of control. What made him even more dangerous, though, was how easily he could be manipulated. My mother had a way of controlling people that I had learned to fear over the years. For months, I watched her manipulate every relationship she had, using others like pawns in her game. But this time it was different. She saw in him someone she could truly control, someone she could turn against me. Little by little, she began feeding him lies about me, convincing him that I was the source of all her problems. I was painted as the enemy, the one standing in the way of her happiness. As the situation worsened, their behavior grew increasingly hostile and threatening. I felt like I had no safe place in my own home. The tension became unbearable, and I began to fear for my safety in ways I had never experienced before. One night, when things were at their worst, I found myself locked in my room, feeling more isolated than ever. I ran into my closet, my heart pounding in my chest, feeling like I was trapped with nowhere to turn. I stayed there, hiding in the darkness, feeling the weight of everything crashing down on me. For 2 days, I didn't dare leave. I was too scared to face them, too terrified to even think about what could happen next. When I finally had the courage to leave, I fled to my best friend's house, the only place where I felt safe and could finally breathe again. But when I spoke to my N-mom again, she showed no remorse. She smirked and said, "Now I have control over you." It was as if all the fear she had caused was just part of her twisted game, a game I had no choice but to play by her rules. At 14, I learned a painful lesson about manipulation and control. It wasn't just about physical power. It was about exploiting every weakness, every fear to break someone down. And in that moment, I realized that she had the ability to hurt me in ways that were far beyond what I had imagined. But I survived, I escaped, and I promised myself I would never let anyone have that kind of power over me again. Update. I just wanted to give a quick update on the situation, though I'm still processing a lot of it. First off, thank you all for the support on my last post. I didn't expect to get so many kind and validating responses, and it really helped me to not feel so alone in all of this. The comments, messages, and just knowing there are people who understand has meant the world to me. As for what's been going on since then, things have been complicated, to say the least. After I left and went to stay with my best friend, my mother didn't make any real effort to reach out to me for a while. I think she was too busy with her relationship, and maybe also because she knew I was avoiding her on purpose. I didn't have any contact with her for a few weeks, but eventually I had to face the reality that I would have to deal with her again at some point. When I finally did speak to her, she didn't apologize. Not even close. In fact, she acted like I had betrayed her, which honestly felt like a slap in the face. She still kept pushing the narrative that I was the problem, that I had ruined everything, and that I was being dramatic and overreacting about what happened. It was like nothing had changed. She still wasn't taking any responsibility for what had gone down. It got worse, though. She started manipulating the people around me, my relatives, friends, anyone who would listen, trying to paint me as this rebellious, ungrateful child who was making up stories to ruin her life. She even tried to tell my best friend that I was lying, saying I was just a troubled teen who didn't appreciate everything she'd done for me. I won't lie, it's been hard. My best friend, who has always been my rock, has seen through it all. But there have been moments where I've felt like I'm losing grip on everything. Some of the people I thought I could trust started questioning me, which made me feel like I was going crazy. But I had to remind myself of what I know deep down. What happened wasn't my fault, and I am not crazy. I've been keeping my distance from my mother as much as possible, but she's relentless. She's trying to guilt trip me into coming back, using every tactic in the book. The worst part is that sometimes I feel the pull of her manipulations, like I'm supposed to forgive and forget, like I should somehow make it right. But every time I think that way, I remember the fear, the lies, and how I had to hide in that closet just to feel safe. I can't forget that. At the same time, I've also been doing a lot of thinking. I know I need therapy to unpack everything that's happened. I'm not going to get better or heal on my own, and I need professional help to deal with the emotional aftermath of this toxic relationship. I've started looking into counseling options, and I'm hoping to start that journey soon. I know it won't be easy, but I know I need to take care of myself. I'm still not sure what the future holds with my mom, but right now I'm focused on me. I'm focused on learning how to trust myself again and how to rebuild my sense of self-worth. One thing I've learned through all of this is that I am stronger than I thought, and I'm not going to let her break me. Thanks again to everyone who's been there for me. I'll keep updating when I can, though this is definitely not the final update. I'm still figuring things out, but for the first time in a long time, I feel like I have a bit of control over my own life. Thank you for listening. Final update. I never thought I'd be writing a final update to this post, but here I am, and it feels like I've finally come to a place where I can breathe. I want to start by saying thank you to everyone who reached out, whether it was words of encouragement, shared experiences, or even just validating what I went through. It truly meant more than I can say. This whole journey has been long and draining, but I'm here now, stronger than I ever imagined I could be. So here's the update. I made the decision to cut ties with my mother. I'm sure it won't come as a surprise to anyone who's been following my story, but it wasn't an easy choice. Let me tell you, it wasn't some dramatic, I'm done with you moment. It was messy. There were long conversations, emails, texts, each one with her trying to pull me back into her world, trying to convince me that everything was fine, that I was overreacting. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized that nothing would ever change. She would never take responsibility for her actions. She would always blame me. She would always twist the truth to fit her narrative. And after everything that had happened, the manipulation, the gaslighting, the fear, I couldn't allow that toxic energy back into my life. I've worked so hard to get to a place where I can trust myself again, and I can't let her take that away from me. I didn't owe her an explanation. The truth is, I had to choose myself. After I made that decision, there was a lot of emotional fallout. I lost a few other family members who sided with her. There were people who didn't believe me, who thought I was exaggerating or being disrespectful. That hurt. But slowly, I've been rebuilding my life. I've learned to trust the people who have always had my back, my friends, a few relatives who really understand the situation, and most importantly, myself. I've also started therapy, which has been an incredibly healing experience. It's helping me unpack everything. And for the first time, I'm beginning to truly understand the extent of the emotional damage I've carried for years. But I'm working through it. I can't lie and say everything is perfect now. There are days when I miss the idea of having a mother, even though I know the woman I wanted her to be isn't the woman she ever was. I still have moments of doubt, moments when I wonder if I'm doing the right thing. But then I remember how suffocating her presence was, how she made me feel small, worthless, and terrified. I remember hiding in my closet at 14, unable to escape. And I remind myself that walking away from that wasn't just a choice. It was survival. So, here I am. I've found peace in the distance I've put between us. My life is quieter, less chaotic, and I'm not constantly walking on eggshells anymore. The guilt is fading, and the strength is growing. I'm not defined by the woman who birthed me. I am me, stronger, smarter, and finally free. I'm moving forward now. It's a slow process, but it's progress. I'm not the scared 14-year-old hiding in a closet anymore. I'm in control of my own life, and that's something no one can take from me. Thank you again from the bottom of my heart to everyone who has been with me through this. I don't need to explain myself anymore. This chapter of my life is closed, and I'm ready for the next one. Take care, everyone.